Yo, what's good? This your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and I'm back in the broadcast room yet again, always with another one. And yes, it is another one, man. Listen, look, I have something quite special in the broadcast room tonight. Yeah, we got brother Anton Daniels in the broadcast room, as you can see on the screen. Let's give the brother a shout out, okay? Let's give him a shout out real quick, been following brother Anton for quite some time now. He definitely be on point with what he speaks about, things like that. Very intelligent brother. But he's going to be talking about the situation with homelessness. And of course, we all know homelessness runs rampant all across America, whether you east, west, south, north, wherever you are. Homelessness is there. And he's talking about how the Supreme Court is trying to figure out what to do with the majority of homeless people out here nowadays. And it's getting very serious. So, especially with a lot of things that are going on here, I could definitely see how, fixing this homeless problem is a definite need because, of the border crisis situation, a lot of things that's going on. And so we're going to go here now. We're going to check this out and we're going to put these quarters, nickels, and dimes in on the times.
Of course, Supreme Court. So I got to talk about this. We just going to go over this really quickly. It's just going to take 10 minutes in order for us to cover this. The Supreme Court is addressing the issue of homelessness. So long story short, they're trying to, or what people are basically saying is that the Supreme Court is ultimately criminalizing homelessness by fining homeless people or fining people that set up camp in publicly owned spaces. All right. So take a look. I just want to keep y'all up to date on what's going on out here in these streets. Sir James Brown, I'm definitely going to be reading that super chat shortly. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat.
This morning, the Supreme Court appears open to allowing cities and towns to criminally punish homeless people. At issue, whether governments can ticket, fine, or possibly jail homeless people who sleep outside in public areas. Opponents argue that violates the Eighth Amendment, which prohibits cruel and unusual punishment. Justice Amy Coney Barrett questioning that claim.
So it would not violate the Eighth Amendment to punish public urination and defecation.
The case stems from the city of Grants Pass, Oregon, which has banned anyone who sleeps in public from using a blanket, pillow, or cardboard box.
I think that it is harmful for people to be living in public spaces, on streets and in parks, whatever bedding materials, when humans are living in those conditions. We think that that's not compassionate.
The case has nationwide implications amid the expanding problem of homelessness and public safety concerns. While many justices appeared sympathetic to the city, others pointed out the need for homeless people to sleep somewhere.
It's sort of like breathing. I mean, you could say breathing is conduct too, but presumably you would not think that it's okay to criminalize breathing in public.
I would like to point to the federal regulations.
And for a homeless person who has no place to go,
these new menu items at
My bad on that. Hold on.
is kind of like breathing in public.
One question the justices will need to decide is whether homelessness is someone's status or their conduct. Their ruling is expected in June.
So this is going to become a lot more complicated, I believe, over a period of time. And it is a difficult issue to tackle. I will say that in my personal opinion, I think that criminalizing homelessness, or the Supreme Court, more importantly, taking up the issue of homelessness, is a very, very difficult thing to tackle, especially when we consider what we seen yesterday on a 405 freeway, or is it the 405? I don't remember what the name of the freeway is, over in Los Angeles the other day, in which they basically built a house on the freeway. Now, a lot of people will say, oh my God, that's so bad. They can't build a house on the freeway. They're still on electricity, so on and so forth. And they built a whole residence over there, right? But then at the same time, that would affect what was going on there, because it's setting a precedent of what criminalizing homelessness looks like. On one hand, you can say, well, you don't want to remove the person's ability to be able to find some kind of shelter or sleep. Absolutely, I 100% agree with that. On the other hand, It's a lot of tent cities. It's a lot of defecating. It's a lot of taking over public spaces. We see what's happening in Oakland and in California, San Francisco, and all across the board. And so my question is not necessarily whether or not we criminalize it, but how do you solve for the problem, especially when we consider that so many resources has been spent on, from California specifically. They say in California over the last few years have spent over $28 billion on homelessness. I ain't seen it.
And I ain't seen it neither. Okay. Let's just keep this real. Now, the thing of this is right here is that, you know, to criminalize that, yeah, that would be a cruel and unusual punishment. But also as well, we have to think about it. I want to know what would be the mental state of some of these people. Now, let's just keep this real out here. You know, the money that they're using for the migrants and things like that to house the migrants and stuff like that, you know, I think that they could, you know, like start, you know, housing some of these, you know, homeless people and things like that. And also using some of that money to hire people to evaluate, you know, these individuals' mind states, whether or not they're capable of even having jobs, or, you know, they're capable of, you know, working or anything like that. You know, do they want to work? Because I mean, like, you know, I've ran across homeless people in my city and stuff like that. And, you know, it's like, okay, you know, you seem very coherent. You seem like you know, you can really have your shit together. It's like, do you really want to have your shit together or don't you? Like, I don't, you know. I mean, sometimes you got to ask these questions, because when you see some people, and, you know, I've ran across some young people that, you know, seem to be homeless. I say seem, because, you know, they're out there at gas stations begging. Because, I mean, like, if you really have lived on the planet long enough, you know the difference between a homeless person that's homeless because their mental state is not quite all the way there versus, you know, just somebody just don't want to do right and walking up to you asking you for fucking money. Like, seriously.
And what the French toast is there to think about?
It's a big difference. It is a huge, big difference. So, you know, yeah, I mean, I would have to say, like, you know, to evaluate these type of people's mindsets to see if they're capable of working. And if they're not capable of working, then figure out a different way to take those type of people and go from there with some type of program or something like that. Maybe, you know, who knows?
Because I've been paying attention and I've been watching and I've been really observing, how do you solve for a homelessness crisis in a space where inflation is out of control, people are embracing van life, and more people than ever before are becoming homeless every single day. And we got a migrant crisis in which our borders are open,
right?
And we spending resources on that too. Let me give it to you from a different perspective.
The United States Supreme Court heard arguments today about whether city laws criminalizing the homeless for camping on public property are legal. The case originates from the town of Grants Pass, Oregon. Among other things, the city bans people who are homeless from using blankets, pillows, or cardboard boxes as shelter to camp outdoors within city limits. People who violate the law face fines of up to $295.
Listen, look at that. Did y'all see that? Did y'all see that?
Damn.
Look at this. This is crazy.
That's the truth, though. My bad. Hold on. Here we go. That is the truth. This is crazy. This is crazy. Okay, real talk. But now I'm also wanting to know, because did y'all just hear what the other commentary just said? The other gentleman on the broadcast right there just said too. He was like, you know, they're actually going to try to fine people up to $250 for being homeless. I mean, like, hold on. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how that, you know, how would that work? I mean, you know, a person is homeless because they don't have any money. Like, I mean, you know, I'm just saying.
God, you can't make this shit up.
You're going to try to fine homeless people up to $250 for being homeless. So what type of scheme are you trying to set up here? Are you trying to set up a situation to where you're actually going out your way to create criminals, maybe, and, you know, have more people that you can put into the prison system? Because the prison system does need more people. That's kind of how the prison system works. Okay.
And what the French toast is there to think about?
I mean, is that what you're doing? Because I mean, I just don't get it. You can't like a homeless person has no money, so how you gonna find them? And how they gonna get how they gonna go to court with the? I mean, like, okay,
This is insane. Look at this.
In blankets, pillows, or cardboard boxes as shelter to camp outdoors.
Look at that. Camping used to be reserved for people that was going through the woods and they was in ARVs and they set up and camp life and all of that stuff and Jeep life. This is a normal way of life in a lot of places. This is a normal way. Have y'all seen the Home Depot? Hold on, let me see something. Have y'all seen that Home Depot situation in Oakland? Y'all haven't seen the Home Depot situation in Oakland, have y'all? I got to pull that up for y'all. Let me play this while I pull that up.
Within city limits. People who violate the law face fines of up to $295. Now, challengers argue that it makes it a crime to be homeless in the city in violation of the 8th Amendment ban on cruel and unusual punishment. Meantime, the city argues the ordinance is essential to public health and safety. During court arguments, every justice did agree that the homeless.
Yeah, that just doesn't make any sense that you're going to fine people for being homeless, knowing that they're homeless because they can't afford to have a home.
Differed on how and who should tackle it. Justice Brett Kavanaugh suggesting it's not up to the federal courts to micromanage homeless policy, while Justice Sonia Sotomayor questioned what would happen if every city passed identical laws.
Where do we put them if every city, every village, every town lacks compassion? Are they supposed to kill themselves not sleeping?
The Supreme Court's ruling is expected at the end of June. The Supreme Court decision on this specific case will be closely followed by many right here in the Bay Area. KTVU's Christian Captain live tonight in San Francisco. And Christian, the mayor, many more keeping an eye out close on this one.
Yeah, the city of San Francisco keeping a very close eye on this one, Mike. Right now, the city of San Francisco is in legal limbo. The city's plans to address homelessness are held up in court, and the decision that the Supreme Court reaches in this Grants Pass case will have huge implications right here in San Francisco. The Supreme Court of the United States heard oral arguments over how cities manage the issue of homelessness. While the case in question came from Grants Pass, Oregon, the case is drawing attention here in the Bay Area. Homeless advocates marched and rallied in front of San Francisco's federal court building and through the streets of the city. Advocates saying the case will get to the heart of whether cities can criminalize homelessness.
The reality is folks are out there because they have no other choice for almost everyone. And it's not okay to then cite them and arrest them because they're destitute. That is, in essence, a pauper's prison that we're creating there. And I think we moved beyond that.
Yeah, the problem isn't whether or not you should fine them or whether it would be productive for them to be able to find a space to live in and stuff like that. The real problem is, how do you solve for homelessness to prevent people from being out and living in the streets in the first place? I don't even think it's as much as housing or housing costs. I just think that that's such a huge issue. If somebody really wants to tackle and fix the United States of America, if somebody wants to run on something in any city that's truly affected by what's going on, I think if you can figure out how to solve for homelessness, if you can put together a large policy, all-encompassing or all-inclusive policy that solves for multiple factors, because what people have realized, or what we have realized through obviously throwing money away, is that you can't just throw money at the problem. You can't just take a large mall and build a homeless encampment or something like that.
Right.
You can't just do it by saying, well, we're going to have affordable housing in order to make sure that we have. That's not a solution. You can't just say, oh, we're going to take all of the money from the rich like they're trying to do in Chicago and we're going to solve for the problem of homelessness. What you'll start to find is that the money will start disappearing. They're going to spend 90 to 95% of the resources on administrative costs and paying salaries and making sure that they fund this building. And 26 of the $28 billion is going to go to people and facilities costs. There's going to be a bunch of companies that benefit as a result of it. They're going to take a whole bunch of money from people that's not supposed to be paying an over amount of taxes. $2 billion is going to be distributed by overspending on a bunch of resources and costs. Then everybody going to be living in these little mini sheds. And then it's going to turn into a drug den. And then the Carter is going to take over.
Now I can kind of see where you're coming from with that. I could definitely see that. Yeah, I mean, the thing of it is that I think also, you know, like I said earlier, you know, trying to figure out, you know, certain people's mental state with this as well, because you do have certain people that actually like being homeless. They don't want the responsibilities of, you know, having to pay bills or pay taxes or have a job or anything like that. Some people do like being homeless out here. And that's also an issue I don't think anybody really understands or really talks about, and things like that as well. You know, just from stuff that I've seen, you know, living on this planet as well, and, you know, interacting with people, things like that. Some of these people do like just having the freedom of not having to, you know, be responsible. And that's also an issue too. You know, how do you combat for that for a person that just will not abide by the rules of the land? Like you need to work, you need to pay taxes, you need to, you know what I'm saying, be in a stable situation. You need to, you know, how do you really work that, like, as well too? You know, that's also another thought process of mine, you know, in this type of predicament when dealing with homeless.
It is a huge issue. It's my passion project. It's the thing that I used to do a lot of volunteer work, and homelessness is such a weird thing, because the face of homelessness, it spans so many different people. It could be somebody that's just one payment away.
Having Slack enables us to communicate.
Lord have mercy. Yeah, they burning me up with commercials tonight.
Losing everything, and they got a medical bill. It could be somebody that lost their job. It could be a mother that got evicted. It could be somebody that's on drugs. It could be somebody that went to Hollywood and they thought that they was going to be a star, and then they got turned out and they wanted to be on the streets. It could be a part of the fentanyl crisis. It's a lot of things that could affect homelessness, right? But I know one thing is growing. It's growing. It is becoming a huge thing. Then it starts to take over and have tentacles when it comes to squatting. And now you got migrants over here. And that's why it's so hard for me to justify illegal immigration into the country, because we got so many problems that we got to solve on our own.
Thank you. Thank you, Anton. Real talk.
And what the French toast is there to think about?
Thank you, Anton. That's the same way I look at it as well. You know, we're allowing these people to come in here illegally, not through the proper channels, to where they can actually get a real stable, legit citizenship, you know, and they're adding, you know, fuel onto the flames. We're already on fire over here, and they're just coming over here, not with even just regular gasoline. They're coming over here with fucking jet fuel and shit, just pouring it all over the place. And we're sitting around here twiddling our damn thumbs over here as American citizens, you know, well, this billion's going here, that billion's going there, well, this 26 billion going here. And it's like, at the end of the day, once we say where it's going, next thing you know, the shit just disappears. It's like, it's crazy out here. It's crazy. All these billions of dollars just disappear overnight, you know what I'm saying? Oh, well, within a week or so, you know, I'm just, man, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to me, you know, but yeah, though, tackling this homeless situation, this is an age-old problem. Homelessness has been around since the beginning of time, but I don't think homelessness was ever at a peak to where it's at now, especially in the 21st century, you know, but homeless is one of those age-old things that, you know, humanity just really haven't solved yet. You know, we haven't solved this problem at all. And yeah, I would like for us as I would like for us as people on this planet to really solve this problem, but it's looking very grim, especially if we keep running things the way that we run things. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is, though, man. Hey, get down in that comment section. Let me know what you think about this homeless crisis. Real talk. You know what I'm saying? Hey, shout out to all my subscribers. Mad love to y'all. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure that you ring that bell to be notified whenever I decide to post things. And like I always say,
and that, my friends, is the bottom line.
That, my friends, is the bottom line. Mad love to all my subscribers. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Please comment. My link to my X, TikTok, and my email are down below. And I always show the bottom line news some love. And like I always say,
and that, my friends, is the bottom line.
That, my friends, is the bottom line.
Who responsible for all these holes in the street? You? God